you have seen dozens of union budgets. So what is that first thing you personally look for? There's also significant buzz around increasing the standard deduction.
Wow, it's good for you and me, yeah, great. I think what people or the market should be really looking at is
which budget signals actually matter and which ones are just noise. Budget day volatility is, mostly very volatile. So where do investors and traders often go wrong?
That's a tough one.
Do you think India-EU trade deal might also be?
I think that's my view in the budget is maybe don't watch it.
If the budget turns out to be a non-event for markets.
I think we are blessed thanks to guys like you, yeah. I mean, you don't need to be in a big trading ring.
Historically, we have seen sectors like defense and railways have consistently been in the focus in the budget every year.
Yep. I think defense is a no-brainer. So defense, I think, will always be on top of the chart. It's like protein for the body.
Yeah.
It has to be there.
Budget day is one of the most watched out days in the market. Big headlines, but not necessarily big candles. And hence, most people walk away confused. So before the budget is presented, let's talk about what you should actually watch and what you can safely ignore. Today, we are joined by Raghav Iyengar, the Chief Executive Officer of 361 Asset, with a remarkable career spanning over 3 decades in the financial services sector. Raghav is one of the most respected voices in the Indian asset management industry. Raghav, you have spent over 3 decades in the industry. You have seen dozens of union budgets, no doubt.
Yep.
So my first question to you is, on the budget day, what is that first thing you personally look for?
See, the budget, when you look at it, is nothing but like a statement of accounts of the government of India.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, please realize that. It just shows you how much money is going to come in and what the government is going to spend it on.
Yeah.
So what I like to see is what are the headline numbers. What's the first, what's the fiscal deficit? Typically, we are a socialist country. We have to uplift a lot of our people. So there will be more social spending. And obviously, what's happening in the environment. Defense is a big part of life. Like I say, without any defense, there's no country.
Yeah.
So I like to just look at the numbers first and see if they are adding up. And the projections are reasonable. Yeah, so that's, if I get that, and that's, by the way, been happening very, very well for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They're very what we call pragmatic budgets.
Yes.
There are no great assumptions that we'll get thousands or lakhs of crores from some wonderful idea.
Yeah.
In that sense, it's very, very pragmatic, very real, very believable. So yeah, that's helped us. Yes.
My second question is, which budget signals actually matter and which ones are just noise for the following?
Okay.
Starting with long-term investors.
Okay. Yeah, so long-term investors, for me, what matters is where the government, so apart from being a statement of accounts, it's also in some sense a statement of policy.
Yes.
So if you remember last year, in 2025, the government really clearly signaled its intent that they want to try and boost consumption.
Yes.
4 years back, they clearly intended to boost infrastructure.
Yeah.
Those are the two big headline themes. So for me, for a long-term investor, I just want to see where that should be fundamental. So if you're seeing like a lot of emphasis on, say, infrastructure or capital spending, then obviously that's where the long-term investor should be thinking about. So that's the big one for me straight away.
Okay. Second is for intraday equity investors.
Wow, that's a tough one. Yeah, there for me, actually, it's a statement of intent. Yeah. So if the assumptions are practical, believable, then I think you have a reasonably good growth story going ahead. And of course, there you will find some pockets where government has been a little more generous, say PLI schemes, etc. Some pockets, obviously, they need to take out of, maybe social spending is a little extra. So if you look at that and then you try and narrow it down to a sector, that's where the day trader should be, in my opinion, focused on. But for me, again, see, I think what the budget has really come down to is that it's just basically a statement of intent, statement of accounts. So I think the heavy lifting gets done during the year.
Yeah.
So if you ask me, it's a great event for somebody to look at the thing for about an hour and a half. But actually, a lot of action is happening outside the budget.
It is. Okay, but budget day volatility is, mostly very volatile.
Yep.
So where do investors and traders often go wrong?
It's just sometimes you miss the fine print here. So sometimes if you're just taking calls on headline news, but the fine print is telling you something else, you could get into trouble. Number two is that I think, I hate to say this, but sometimes there's a lot of body language reading.
Is it?
Yeah. So sometimes people see, oh, the body language is very confident, great, but that they go a little haywire.
Yeah.
And lastly, I think, to my mind, where traders really get jacked is they don't have clear stop loss, take gains level.
Yes.
So if you ask me, a great trader
Hmm.
is somebody who has to have both.
Yeah.
So, and I'm really in the business of long-term wealth creation. So for
Yeah.
me, that daily stuff doesn't. But yeah, I think different strokes for different folks. Yes.
Okay. So, assuming someone is watching markets on budget day, what is a simple checklist they should, keep in mind?
No, one is, I think, don't get swayed by the by the anchor's voice.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a lot of wow, and this has happened, that's happened. So
Yeah.
I think it's my view in the budget is maybe don't watch it.
Okay.
Just spend some time post the budget.
Yeah.
Read the document. It's actually very easy now
Yeah.
because you have these beautiful AI tools available. You can load the entire document up and you can get a synopsis in maybe less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then look at that. And then number two is there's a lot of nitty-gritty in the fine print. So I think that's the other part. So sometimes the fine print doesn't come out
Yeah.
in the conversation while the honorable finance minister is reading out. It doesn't
Yeah.
come. It comes in the budget document. So I think I don't have a real checklist, but yeah, if obviously if you're a fund manager or a trader or somebody who's buying selling companies, I think it's very important for you to sort of be able to figure out what segment of the budget is really going to affect your portfolio, and then if you need to take corrective action, look at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so your checklist has to be somewhat. I don't have a institutional checklist on it.
Yeah.
Apart from the usual stuff, right? Taxes, etc. All that is very easy to do.
Yeah.
So like last year, it was very easy to figure out that hey, consumption just got a big boost because they increased the
Yes.
minimum taxable income threshold and they threw a whole lot of other
Yeah.
things around it.
Standard deduction also.
Standard deduction and all that, So it was very easy for you to take that macro call.
Yeah.
But let's say 2 years back, there was no macro call on an individual basis. Then it sort of gets very, very to the nitty gritty that they will remove a certain set of tariffs or they will put some extra duties and stuff like that. Because now a large part of the revenue, frankly, has gone out of the budget, which is GST.
Yes.
And the whole GST thing works on the GST Council.
Yeah.
So that part earlier used to take a lot of time and attention, but
Yes.
that's gone now.
Yeah.
Then of course you have the usual small nitty gritty stuff like what are the customs duties, whether they're making life a little simpler. And then most importantly, what's the tone of the budget? Is it ease of doing business? Is it sort of helping domestic industries grow? Is there a focus on exports? Is it a mix of all three, which is typically what happens? How much money is going into the social sector? How much money is going into defense? Those should be some things that you should think about.
Yeah, speaking of defense, so historically we have seen sectors like defense and railways have consistently been in the focus in the budget every year and have rewarded investors too. Do you think this trend will continue in 2026 as well, or this might change?
See, I think defense is a no-brainer now because I think defense, clearly the world in which we live in is a very different world from maybe what it was 3-4 years back. And I think current conflicts are really showing that you have, without a proper defense force, you may not exist as a country.
Yeah.
So, the conversation we're having right now could be very irrelevant if we don't have our defense forces protecting us. And unfortunately, our environment has got a little more dangerous. It was always dangerous, it's got a little more. So, defense, I think, will always be on top of the charts. I think it's a must have. It's like protein for the body. It has to be there. How much goes into what part is very, again, nitty-gritty. Whether parts of it is going into, say, drone technology or, to the Air Force or whatever. And that also, a lot of that is now gone out.
Yeah.
Because the budget just highlights a certain number and then that money gets spent in various formats. Railways is always is a super place because it's really integral to our entire capex spend.
Yeah.
Our capital expenditure, a large part of it goes to railways. Last year's budget actually flatlined capex.
Yeah.
If you see, we had practically almost a doubling of capex in the last 3-4 years. That last year obviously came off, but remember we were at a very high base.
Yeah.
This year's budget, obviously, if they're going to spend more money on capex, then obviously railways will be a beneficiary. So to my mind, railways is again integral to our life. There's no two ways about it. Our country will stop if we didn't have the Indian railways today. But and a lot of other things that we take for granted will not come. But yeah, it's interesting to see how much money they're now actually spending on each item on the railway. So let's say track electrification or let's say new signaling technology or new collision technology. Those are things that I would be watchful about. To my mind, the heavy lifting is over there.
Oh. Yeah. There's also significant buzz around increasing the standard deduction.
Wow, it's good for you and me, yeah.
From the existing 75,000 to 1 lakh rupees, and also raising the 30% tax slab threshold to 30 lakh rupees. So if that happens, do you anticipate any structural recovery in consumption sectors like FMCG and auto,
Yeah.
which have struggled with sluggish urban demand lately?
It's possible. See, if you ask me, last year we did get a fairly good tax break.
Yeah,
So I don't know whether we merit two back-to-back
yeah.
tax breaks there. But having said that, inflation has really made that whole number, 75,000 or 1 lakh, is a very small number in scheme of things.
Yeah.
I also think about it that this government is really focused on trying to make our lives simpler. So if by doing this, we are able to get more taxpayers in the net, or we are able to put more money on the table, I think the government will happily look at it. It's also a segment which I think the government wants to promote. And you saw, I mean, post budget, obviously you didn't have a great boost, but post GST cut,
Yeah.
I think it's been significant recovery, especially in auto.
Yeah.
Two-wheeler, four-wheeler segments have done quite well. So yeah, I think if they want to continue that momentum, it makes sense. I would see it more from an ease of, let's say, doing business from an individual level. I'm not sure whether two back-to-back concessions will happen.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. That brings me to my last question, which is if the budget turns out to be a non-event for markets, which many suggest it could, what takes over as the dominant market driver?
It's a very tough question because I think today markets have become more selective.
Yeah.
Right. I think those days of one-way rallies are over. So I think what to my mind will take over is individual sector and stock earnings. I think what people or the markets will be really looking at is what individual companies are planning to do over the next year or 2 years. And how they're planning to take advantage of various things that are happening around them. So it again go back to stock earnings, which is very, very critical, both in the public and in the private sector.
Do you think India-EU trade deal might also be? I
think that's it's a super thing, and I mean it's great that they finished 20 years of negotiation very, very quickly.
Yes.
So obviously there's been some really hard work done by both the sides.
Yeah.
I mean it's quite amazing that over the last 5, 6, 8 months they managed to stitch such a thing. But it's as you know, the EU is it's not a country; it's a collection of countries. It's 27 odd countries sitting there, so they have their own internal approvals and that process. I don't see. I mean, obviously, as time progresses, we'll figure out which sectors do well. So some of the easy ones, obviously, textiles, and maybe some of the ones that can get hit are, say, auto.
Yes.
But we'll have to see over the next 12 months who adopts in what format and what it does. But it's actually quite phenomenal because you've really created. I mean, if somebody had asked me last year whether this will happen, I would have said, yeah, 19 saal tak nahi hua hai.
Yeah.
So what is going to happen over the next 1 year that will suddenly make it happen? But it's happened. But yeah, I think the market will also be looking at hopefully India, US. I hope there's no flare up in the Middle East.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of geopolitical stuff which is affecting, and the new term nowadays is geoeconomics.
Yes.
So you fight a war without you're fighting huge. I mean, the world is full of economic wars right now. Apart from the physical wars, there's a lot of economic war. And that impact, frankly, is very difficult to digest. You'll just have to watch it on a day-on-day basis.
Yeah.
I think we are blessed to be living in a place where we take 6% GDP growth as granted.
Yeah.
And we're trying for 7, 8. Of course, we keep complaining a lot, especially Bombay, Bangalore, ye traffic hai, wo pani nahi, etc. But if you look at it, I think we are a very sweet spot in terms of global growth. The very fact that we are the youngest possibly economy in the world, I mean, number of young people are the highest here, is great. But the flip side is that we all have to get good jobs.
Yeah.
They have to be well paid. They have to have meaningful lives, and then obviously have a good standard of living. So I think that's the whole thing that I hope the budget is able to give a little more clarity on.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, budget will be. That is something we have to watch out for.
And it's a Sunday today this time, so it's again very interesting because it's the first time that I remember it's being on a Sunday, and number 2, markets being open on a Sunday.
Yes.
So I really don't know how that's going to pan out because it's a first time. I mean, I'm sure it'll go well, but we never thought that a budget will get presented on a Sunday, and more importantly, markets will function on a Sunday. And I think that's thanks to guys like you. I mean, you don't need to be in a big trading ring and keep shouting today anymore.
Yeah.
It's all on the phone, frankly. So. So the phone doesn't bother whether it's a Monday or a Sunday, right?
It's ease now.
It's ease. It's absolutely, and that's thanks to guys like FYERS. You guys have really made investing much easier.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Raghav.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
Budget day will always come with headlines, expectations, and noise, but markets don't move on emotions. They move on signals, numbers, and follow through. The idea of today's conversation with Mr. Raghav Iyengar was simple: to help you separate what matters from what merely sounds important. If this playbook helped you prepare for budget day, share it with someone who is tracking the markets this week. And once the budget is out, we will be back to decode what actually mattered.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risk. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.